Hey guys, Jesse from PlayVis here. I'm here with Coach Josh, who's taking part of our skill enhancement camp. We've also got a special guest here, Coach Colin Driscoll, also known as Coach Slow. Coach, how are you?
I'm great. Enjoying life.
That's good. Yeah. First question for you. What are your perspectives on the issues surrounding the parent, coach, athlete triangular kind of combo?
That's the essence of basketball. Trying to get a mix between what's helpful and what's negative is always a balancing line. Now, there's different ways of viewing it, and I've dealt with it differently. Within high school programs, I have no interaction with the parents, none at all. It's always dealt through the schools. Um, the schools ask me what my philosophy is, and I want to talk to the parents, and I say I'm quite prepared to talk to the parents, but I will not discuss court time or other kids. And that's all that parents really want to talk to you about, those two things. So that's just the way it is. It's a hard, fast rule that I apply by, and away we go. And the selection process, I'll never discuss selections with any parents either. The other environments that I've been in is where I'm involved in association, and I've had to deal with parents. Now, one of the best methods that I've come across was getting the parents involved, coming into a meeting and going through a process of finding out what they actually want out of basketball. So the process is if you get those stick-on tab things, those bit of papers where they have the stick-ons, and you get them to write in, the first thing is, what do you want to see happen this year? That's the one we ignore. The second one is, if that wasn't possible, what would you deem as a good year? Right? Because the first one, people tend to think, I want to win. Right? We want to do this, do that. And you can get some really outrageous responses first up. So sometimes that sends you the, watch this parent, be wary. But then once you start getting them directed, okay, so that might not work. You might not have control over your child's court time, but what can you do to help the team? Now, they'll all come up with ideas initially about how they can help your daughter or their son. All right, so here's a scenario then. What if your daughter breaks their leg in the first game? How are you going to continue to support the team? And that's the discussion that I try to steer it to. And it's amazing how some of the answers you can come out of. And you can get some people, well, I'm a massage therapist. I can help you that way. I've got access to wheels. I can help that way. I've got access to a sports shop. So you're asking them then to help grow the program. Then start to give, I guess, those that you can trust, and be wary of those who you can't trust. But then you start to find out who good people are. And really, if they're involved in the sport, they're good. It's just that they need education sometimes. As far as players go, so this is the other thing I'll tell parents. How does my son get more court time? They need to come and talk to me. Again, it's simple as that. I don't want to talk to you, Mum. I don't want to talk to you, Dad, about why your son or daughter's not performing or not doing what we want them to do. All right, come and talk to me. The worst parent you can get is someone that sits behind you on the bench and starts telling their little Johnny to shoot every time they get the ball. So then, and that happens to me at domestic basketball all the time. So I then have to turn around and say, but this isn't what we need for your child and the team. They've just missed 10 goddamn shots and you're telling them to shoot another shot? Mary down there hasn't touched the ball once. Right? So I try to get the players to look at it through the view of someone at the other player's eyes. So that how would they feel if you got blown off, if you got missed? How would you feel if you got criticised? So again, trying to build, I guess, a nice community, a nice environment. Does that all make sense? Yeah. With coaches,
Yeah.
the reality is you have to talk to parents. And at some stage, you'll get the ones, I don't want to have anything to do with that one. And the hard thing is not to select or not coach the child because you don't like the parent. And the longer you stay in sport, you'll find more and more parents that, oh my God, I don't want to be anywhere near her today. All she thinks about is her daughter. So again, someone comes and talks to me and moans about it. I'll then try to point out, well, maybe she just work a bit harder, or maybe she should have passed that one up, or has she been practicing her shooting? And you want me to play her? Parents have I'm going to say parents have never been a problem. They have been, but I don't waste too much time with them, I'm sorry. Unless they're a good fella and they want to help me get better, or they generally want to help their kids get better. So the other method that I use to dealing with parents is to tell them how wonderful job they're doing with their kid. And it's the hamburger, you're doing a fantastic job, and they're really, I like the way they're playing, I like their style. If they could just work on this a wee bit better, but man, what a great job you're doing raising your kid. She's a wonderful kid. Yeah. Hope some of those ideas help.
It's a crap sandwich, right, Coach?
Hamburger stand.
Yeah. Yeah, and Coach Slow, what basketball skills do you think that athletes need to be developing in today's day and age?
I won't swear. Shooting. Believe it or not, the advent of this analytics of saying that the three-point shot is the best shot you can take isn't quite what it was supposed to be, but that's now how it's being viewed. I watched its NBL 1 game last year up at Kalamunda. And I'm sitting with a coach from one of the women's teams, and he's asking me, what do you think of this game? I went, it's absolute crap. Right, so for 5 minutes, we end up going after 10 minutes. I went there to watch the girls. So for 5 minutes, the only shot that was taken was a three, and there was very rarely more than 4 or 5 passes. And they were definitely open looks, and people might have felt they were in the rhythm, but they didn't hit shit. Right? Now, I've just coached a girls' team at the state champs. Binner, new to the program, only 2 wobble girls. The rest of them are all just enthusiastic players. Our whole tactic for the tournament was get free throws and layups. Don't worry about anything else. Free throws and layups. Right? That'll win it for us. So we qualified, and we're in Div 1, top 4. A lot of people upset, a lot of people embarrassed. But you can run your fancy goddamn offenses, and we'll let you shoot that three. And that's basically what happened. They'd shoot, we'd rush the ball up. We've been spending a whole lot of time on defense and putting pressure on at half court. We get another layup, we get fouled, we go to the free throw line. People are looking at us at the end going, but you weren't one of the best teams. On paper, no, we weren't one of the best teams. But we had heart, they played tough on defense, and we got layups and free throws. Real simple. I think that too many coaches, and therefore the players, go and try and work on these step backs before they can even make a goddamn free throw. So that if I'm a smart coach and you've got a reasonable three-point shot, I'm going to smack the shit out of you and make you shoot free throws. And that's really what it boiled down in some games. I mean, why are you teaching them to shoot three-pointers when they can't even make a left-hand layup? Right? There's girls that we played in the under-18s we knew couldn't dribble with their left hand. Right? So it's the basics. It's the fundamentals. Every program that I've worked with, that's be my driving force, if you like. If you lack something, a decent coach is going to exploit that, and they're going to embarrass you. Right? I had a lot of fun on the weekend, just doing simple things. So I think it's the basic fundamentals are needed to be taught. I don't think they do it at many associations' training programs now. I think the advent of the trainer is far, far more important than it's ever been. And if we talk about elite athletes, your 2 practices a week, you ain't elite. Simple as that. You ain't elite. If you ain't doing 2 to 3 sessions, I reckon a day, then you've got no chance. And I don't mean 3 basketball sessions. I mean, a conditioning session in the morning or a shooting session in the morning, a strength and conditioning in the afternoon, and then maybe some scrimmage-based stuff in the evening, or a game of touch or whatever. But if you ain't prepared to do that and be that disciplined, you ain't elite. And the reality is someone else somewhere else is doing it, and they'll be able to make it with their left hand. They'll be able to put pressure on you, and eventually they'll knock down that three-pointer while you're still chucking it. Fundamentals.
All righty. And my last question for you is, what do you think athletes today misunderstand about basketball training?
I'll do this with an exercise. Can you guys just raise your arms? Yeah. A bit higher. No, higher. Right. That's it. Put them down. No, put them down there. So we went through 3 progressions. Well, I call 3 progressions. Participation. Yeah, we put our hands up. Yep. Then we went, no, put them up a bit higher. Yeah. So you did. And that's sort of being competitive. And then I asked you to go even higher. Right? So then you did. Now, if you're an athlete and we put that into a game, I reckon participation is the level that most players train at. So to train at those extra levels, all you had to do is a wee bit more effort to get your hand up a bit higher. And that's I think the biggest problem that the modern player has. And when I say modern players, we've got thousands of players these days, not just maybe we've got one gym and there's a few hundred, but nowadays there's thousands of players going. The difference between the people that are going to be wanted by somebody, whether it's Wobble, whether it's NBL 1, whether it's the NBL or the NBA, is going to be mainly effort. There's a lazy mothers around.
Yeah. Anything for you, Dad?
Sorry, what was that?
No, you keep going.
Stephen Adams is probably the best example I've known of a young fella that succeeded. And there was arguably other people his size and had similar skill sets, but none of them, not one of them were driven like him. His goals at 14 was to support his family. So his why was huge. And he's got a big goddamn family, you know. But he got taken to an environment where that could work for him. But he had to do the work and he had to want to do the work. And that's all he did for 4 or 5 years. Got up in the morning, went to the gym, went to school, tried to get enough grades so they would accept him in the States. Did some work at lunch, did some work after school.
No worries. Josh, do you have anything to add on to that?
I guess the final part for Coach from me would be, do you see that the analytics could be why we're seeing so much return to the mid-range in the program?
I'm sorry. I've had this debate with many, many people. And my father was the best exponent of telling me how this went. So you're a businessman, and the local advertising man comes to you and goes, "You're losing opportunities. You should be advertising. You should be promoting your business. You should be doing all this sort of things." So you promote your business and hello, the business gets better. Then the man comes along and goes, "Oh no, there's a recession coming. We better pull the advertising in and save some money." Surprise, surprise, sales go down. So if we take that now to the analysts are saying the 3-point shot's the best shot to take, so everyone practices it. No one's practicing the mid-range shots. So people take mid-range shots, their shots are caca. So that backs up the analysts. If we check out in any professional league, what's one of the shots Cotton takes to make sure that people respect him? Kawhi Leonard is another one. The mid-range game is being played by smart people. So do I think the mid-range game is going to come back? No. No way. Do I think the dominant post inside is going to come back? No way. Right? But they're just going to continue to find ways to put up that 3 And the NBA's tried to move the line back, so they just go back further and further and further. We all know repetition breeds success if you've taught it correctly. So at the very top level of basketball, the 3-point is going to dominate. Again, if we have a look at analytics, and if I can shoot the 3-point consistently, as good as Seth Curry, I'm going to make a very good living. But that doesn't then flow on to the lower grades, because they don't do that. At the SBL level, I would be stunned if people took 500 threes a day, for example. Right? If I looked at my high school teams and the coach and even the wobble teams here, they're playing so much that they're not getting up shots. I've seen girls that at 14 were elite and they worked at their game. They then made superstar teams, so-called superstars teams, start to train in different teams. So all they're doing is becoming good conditioned players. But their game's gone to crap. Unfortunately, I don't think the mid-range game's going to come back, and I don't think, because the centres nowadays is gone, per se, because there's so many of these 7-foot plus dudes that are doing what guards can do now.
Positionless basketball.
I think that's definitely the way it's going. I mean, that's certainly the way that I'm coaching. Though I do have a couple of different tweaks. There you go. Because it's to do with your
secrets.
No, it's to do with your personnel. Yeah, if you've got someone that's going to dominate inside, and I've got a beast that can do that, so we've got little plays that we run for her, and I think that the same should go with guards. They should be able to play inside, outside as well. I think more the tactics these days is to identify weaknesses in the opposition and exploit it. E.g., who's the weakest player? Who can we then isolate that player with, and we go from there. Defensively, I'm teaching my teams now to spot the idiot, the one we want to shoot, the one that we will absolutely leave open and goad into shooting. If you can do that and you find a chump, then you put them off. It's just the way it is. Why run fancy offenses and systems if you can do that?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I never really thought about that before. Yeah. All right, guys.
So when we
that was it.
When we played you at East Perth, I think you were playing then.
Yeah.
The scout that we did on you guys was phenomenal. But that's because I didn't want Desi beating me. Yeah. My nephew beat me. So we had you all pretty well identified of what your strengths and weaknesses were. You were certainly a worry. And so the idea with you was to make sure you didn't touch the ball. Whereas some of the other players, we wanted them to touch the ball. And so we let them touch the ball. That was one of my better scouts, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you, Coach Slow, for joining Josh and I. If you guys want to follow Coach Slow on Instagram, just search up Colin Driscoll and you'll find him. And hopefully we'll see you at our skill enhancement camp in January.
Thanks, Coach.